All right, welcome on board, everybody, once again. So, we're just going to talk a little bit about the life cycle of third party risk in general. And the goal is to understand in deeper terms what exactly is required for third party in general. So, let's get started. Okay, the first thing I will just throw out there is risk identification. I'll tell you what that means in simple terms. So, first, we are thinking in our mind, um, what are those potential breaches that could happen in general. In our case, we have to make sure that the issues of patient data being improperly accessed is addressed potentially. What about non-compliance to EPA, which is the regulation for healthcare in the US, right? A risk assessment is always important. We did risk assessment before. For your third party also, every one of our third party, it's a good practice to continuously still do risk assessment. And in a bit, I'll show you another slide that really tackles end to end of what are the steps and guidelines for third party in general. You know, of course, before the partnership, how is the encryption done on our patient's data? What about the due diligence conducted? How do we evaluate the risk around, this third party? What are the controls this third party bring on board? Then this third party, do they continuously monitor their network or their system in general? So those are the key things. Naturally, I think it's fair to say every organization, we expect them to do their due diligence. That is almost a given right now. Most people expect that from their organization. In this case, also contract negotiation. Everybody on the call earlier on, you guys were telling me about, well, it depends on the contract, it depends on what the agreement is. You're right. So let me ask you, let me just throw this out there to the community real quick. Let's see what you guys think. Let's, for a second, when we talk about contract negotiation, let's open the floor for chatting real quick. Who is typically involved in contract negotiation? Let's see what you guys think. You can feel free to chat, please. Go ahead. Who do you think is typically involved in contract negotiation? Let me see your thought process here. All right, somebody's organization. All right, I like that. Legal team. All right, okay. Cyber team, collaboration between the IT and legal team, the business, product owner, legal stakeholder. There's one I'm looking for. All right, iPhone at iPhone, whoever you are. I like that. Legal and procurement is always procurement for sure, and legal. So I agree, legal is typically standard, but one thing again, it depends on the organization. I know, but typically, when we talk of contract negotiation, for sure, legal. I mean, come on, what else would would legal do if they don't review the contract? So legal for sure. Then procurement is always a big one too. Of course, IT will be involved too because they're the one we're talking about IT contract now, right? Mostly, so they will be involved in it, but they will be on the surface in it. Example, we need three firewalls bought by Cisco or Fortinet. All right, the negotiation will be done through procurement, the contract reviewed by legal. So yeah, fair. IT knows what they want, but they don't have a clue. All the contract terms, they have no idea what it is. They don't know anything about it. So procurement negotiates with IT, legal comes in. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's good. Now, of course, it depends on the organization. There's no easy way around it. Sometimes, if it's not a very big organization, IT might be involved with legal to just directly negotiate it. For more structured and big organization, because they have a fully dedicated team on procurement, it will make sense. They negotiate with IT, they do back and forth, then ultimately it goes to legal before the contract is finalized naturally. Okay. So that's just, I mean, sometimes we overthink this. The truth is that it's the same way you and I would do business. Mostly organizations will do business. It's just at a larger scale. I mean, that's really what it is. You sign a contract, an agreement, you review it, a lawyer reviews it, they give you thumbs up, then you move on. That's it. So pretty much it's the same guideline really. Okay, cool, cool, cool. I think we're on board on that one together. All right. So one thing that is very popular you'll see is that of course within the contract negotiation there will be things around, okay, how regular should we audit your environment and process? That should be part of the conversation. If there was a breach potentially within your organization, what is the response? What is the communication protocol around it. It has to be part of the negotiation in general. Then what kind of standard or encryption is required from you? All of those must be stated in the contract, typically, because those are the key things from an IT point of view. We have to have those baked into the process in general. Okay. Now, let's agree on this also. No matter how solid an environment is, it's important there should be an ongoing monitoring consistently. Let me give you an example. So I have a third party provider for my business, and I read in the news that they went through a data breach. Let me ask you, let me open the floor for a second. One of my one of my third party vendors, I read in the news that they had a data breach. What should you do? Let's see what you guys think. You just read it in the news that they had a breach. What would you do? Let me see your thoughts. Let's take it again. Oh boy, Marcelo, you don't play games. Oh well, I just sue them right away. Immediate audit. Okay, I like that. Back out. Now they're already your vendors, so quickly deboard them. Check environment, reputation, we withdraw, investigate if the issue was fixed. But okay, I like that. Now, let's pause for a second. Let's be fair. We've not understood the details of the breach yet, right? Because let's be honest, every environment would be breached. The most important thing is that what is their response plan, the strategy around it. I like what somebody said that we should just remove them from the network for a start. Let's isolate whatever their solution is for a start, right? I like that. Okay. While you guys are figuring out and investigating your stuff, let's first isolate this from our network, disconnect them from our network. That's fair enough. I think I'll do that too, right? That makes the most immediate step. Now, let's pause. You know why we should pause? Sometimes we are talking of the biggest players in the world that is running everything you do, your operation, everything. So we are talking of the likes of Microsoft, Cisco, AWS, Google Cloud, SalesPoint, Fortinet. Every one of these top, even the guys providing VPN access to you and I, they are constantly attacked, right? I like that. Somebody said impact analysis. Yes. So yes, we should isolate them from our network. I agree with that immediately. Isolate them from the network, but ultimately also investigate, understand their response, if they've deployed patches to their customers immediately. Because look, for example, Log4j was a big one that happened like 2 years ago. It affected a lot of Microsoft servers. Immediately, Microsoft deployed patches globally so that all of their customers can install the patches. That is what makes you and I comfortable. But if we are saying they will not be attacked, it's an illusion. Everybody's going to, if as a matter of fact, maybe I've said this a couple of times, the CEO of Cisco, one of the largest networking organizations in the world, said there are only two types of companies, those that have been attacked and those that have been attacked, but they are not aware they've been attacked. All of us have been attacked. And I gave an example, one of my global clients, and this environment have been attacked for the last 5 years. They were not aware. They had IP coming from Southeast Asia consistently. They had no clue where this was coming from, right? So, I mean, they didn't know, until we pointed it out and said, listen, okay, where's this? Are you guys, do you have an operation in this location? They said, no. Do you have a vendor you consistently communicate with in this location? They said, no. And what is this IP coming from this location for the last 5 years? They were kind of dumbfounded. Okay, and it's consistent. So it means somebody has been, maybe they installed a beacon, they're constantly checking what's going on in your network. So it's just crazy, 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 you know? Yeah. Okay, I like that. Somebody said it's important to also reach out to the vendor to understand the scope of the breach. I think definitely we have to, but more importantly, they would have likely made a press release, communicated with all their vendors, started working with law enforcement and potentially regulators immediately when there's such a big breach. So I think typically it would have begin to have that communication go out. But you're right, we would internally investigate and start asking, okay, guys, what do we need to do? But as a way to kind of reduce the risk from our side, I like what somebody said, we just isolate them, remove them from our network first, pending the time they go figure their stuff out. But the only comment I have is if all you do to run your operation is probably in the cloud, let's say hypothetically AWS or Google Cloud, are you going to say I'm removing the old Google Cloud from my? It's kind of crazy and tricky, really. Some people run all their business from the cloud. They don't have anything. So you are just open. They've isolated everything in that cloud segmentation so that it's not impacting what you do. But a lot of businesses are running everything in the cloud. They don't have any hardware, any software. They run everything in the cloud. SaaS solution, right? If you're a customer like that or a client like that, you just have to just rely on faith and say, well, hopefully your own data is not compromised or something. Anyway. So those are the nuances from a business point we got to think about. Yes, it's easy to say I isolate, but what about if I don't have, if everything is in the cloud, and my attack was on a cloud service provider, then I'm at the mercy of the process, really, technically speaking, right? Okay. All right. I like this. Somebody said if it's in the cloud, we review the service level agreement and based on the shared security model, identify the next step. Fair point. That's a good point too. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Okay, somebody said if a risk assessment had been done, would have foreseen this type of risk and most likely have a control in place to mitigate the risk. I like, man, whoever said that is awesome. Baby Sola, you're awesome. Because honestly, that's the point of risk assessment. Everybody think it's not going to be them until it's you. That's the way life is, right? Just like somebody driving without insurance, you think, oh, I'm not going to be impacted until it's you. You read things in the news and say, oh, well, it's not me, right? But the truth is that it's people like you and I too. So it could be any one of us. Every situation can be you and I. That's the truth about it, right? So, but anyway, that's the gist about it. So let's keep moving. But that's really the gist on ongoing monitoring. Now let's talk about this risk mitigation, everybody. At the end of the day, one thing we should remember, and everybody on this call, whatever your space is, work is, I'll tell you one thing, you would definitely need to understand every environment will have issues they've identified. As a matter of fact, the big challenge is always aging issues. If you go into an environment and your role was to help them with aging issues, meaning issues that have been maybe above 3 months that they've been trying to fix, some issues they cannot fix because it requires financing, sometimes hiring, sometimes tooling, buying a technology to mitigate that risk. And sometimes they will just accept the risk and say, you know what, yeah, on this one we accept it because we are not going to change anything anyway. As long as the awareness is there and there are controls to potentially mitigate that risk, then we are normally fine, right? Yours is to make sure that they are aware of it. So if I bring you on board, and we say, okay, how do we mitigate this risk? In this case, we should have a joint strategy to talk about it on how to mitigate the risk. In our case, like what you said, we should have a backup. What's our backup plan if there was an issue? You know? And what about recovery? Now, in recovery, when there's potential crisis, one thing we should never forget is most recovery will require us to also engage the vendors. For example, if the system that was attacked was a Microsoft proxy server, right? Then it will be foolish for me to just think I'll do it myself. I need to get Microsoft team and say, okay, guys, all right, this is what we've done. You own the system. What should we do further? So everybody's on board, really, normally, when there's such an incident in general. Then, of course, regular testing. Now, you could have backup strategy in place. If it is not tested, it is a disaster waiting to happen, guaranteed. Because what will happen is that, and I've seen this in the past, what happened was imagine this is crazy. This is even a banking sector. Imagine a bank for the last, let's say, 3 months or up to a year, so something like that. They've been backing up files with a, service provider, but they never do recovery test to say, okay, well, we've been backing up. Let's say we try to recover this is our data. Let's test. They never did it. Now, we did an assessment and realized this was not done. That, okay, guys, go check. Only to realize everything they've been backing up for the last 6 months or something like that, there was never a backup. The system had a bug. It was not backing up anything. Thankfully, they found out early, right? They started doing recovery and started figuring out. But imagine if there was an actual crisis before they found out. Can you just imagine for a second? That you just realize that, oh, you've been happy that you're backing up, and you wake up and realize none of your file was, and I think we can relate with this. Sometimes you're working on the file, you think you are saving it, and you just close and realize, boom, man, this thing was not backing up or saving. It's the same thing, really. So it's important to test. It's not enough to back up. Can we all type this together? I think I need to drum that a little bit more. If you don't mind, can you just type and say, it's important to also test? Can we type it real quick, everybody, if you don't mind? Let's go, people. Just type, it's important to test, because many times we do all this thing, but if you don't test, you're playing games, really, because you're playing with fire. And the same thing, you see things like incident response plan, whatever plan you put together, really, you must always challenge this thinking and say, did you test the plan? Because yeah, we can put all this plan, but if we don't test it, then we don't know, really. And yeah, it can be bad. It can be bad, especially for big organization. For small business, small organization, you may not care that much, because you can easily start doing manual. Okay, for those of us that saw the news, can you imagine what's been going on in the hospital system recently? It's crazy. A lot of hospital systems for 2 weeks could not access their manual. As a matter of fact, some of them had to they had to write check for their employees. Yeah, you know so it's really bad. Yeah, it's really bad. I mean, but you don't know it's bad until you're one of the people impacted. Some folks on my call are nurses, and they were part of that breach. Yeah, and I remember then they were telling me all the nightmare they had to deal with, getting their payroll. Everything was manual, so if you had to pay your mortgage, now you're waiting extra 1 week. So yeah, it's bad. Let's say another one. You're absolutely right. It's not all about having a great incident plan. It's also extra. Yeah, I agree with that. Thank you so much. Yep. Yeah, I mean, so just be mindful of it as life takes every one of us. And those are things we need to be ask those questions. People will respect you because they know that, look, you're not just thinking of, okay, yeah, I have a plan, but is it tested? How often do you test it? If you tell, well, we do it quarterly, okay, fair enough. At least we know there's a mechanism to test it. All right, cool. Let's move on. All right, let's talk about this one. This is another sweet one I like. Okay, now remember again, even the best of contract, let's say you're government, employees or government contractors, right? A lot of government contracts are 10 years, some 15 years, some, long-term contract, which is great because there's consistency, there is the relationship building, and there's that consistency is there, which is good. At some point, even if it's your dad or mom's business, right? At some point, the project will terminate. Yeah, yeah. Life would happen. Hopefully, it's not AI that happened, but life would happen, and people will just have things just yanked out and terminated, right? That's normal. That's going to happen. So we have to constantly also have a termination strategy. So no matter what the environment is, there would be a need for a termination strategy. Can we all type that real quick together, real quick? Termination strategy. Let's just type that real quick. I'll give us access to type that now. Let's go. Let's just put the word termination strategy, because irrespective of the environment, at some point you would need a termination strategy. And some milestone we should think in our mind is, okay, what is the plan to announce a termination? Now, because we terminate your project or contract does not mean we hate you, doesn't mean anything is wrong. It's just part of the process, really. Yeah, there will be a termination for every one of us at some point. Okay, we are wrapping up this project. It's normal, so it's not a big deal. We have to understand, how do we retrieve all our patients' data that was with you? What's the transition plan? Because before now, all our customers' information was with you. How do we, in a safe way, consistently clear way, secured way, retrieve all the data in your place? What about inventory of our patients' record and retrieval? It's just a lot of work we got to think about, and also, what are the alternative solutions we have in place of this terminated project or contract, right? The transition plan must be clear with minimal service disruption. Very important. Then we also mostly like to bake in termination support, meaning, okay, give us some support even after the termination is done. let's have some element of support also in the process. Very important also as we proceed. All right. So this is another. This is a very good one. And I think after this we'll jump into our use case. Okay. So this is everybody. Please make sure if you are not registered for the internship, go register so you have access to all our information and all the data. This is a very good one. A summary of life cycle of third party. Somebody can ask you in an interview, can you walk me through typically what are the life cycle of third party? I've seen somebody ask that interview before, that question before. Number one, identification and screening of the vendors. We have to think about due diligence and selection of the vendors, contract negotiation, and onboarding and integration, continuous monitoring, risk management, and renewal or termination of the contract. So for everybody on the call, this is definitely a very good cheat sheet for interview, every one of us, okay? And for if you're not on our WhatsApp group, make sure you join. I'm going to put, let me put the WhatsApp group link on this chat so that you can have access to it and join if you are not on the group. Let's see. I'm sorry if you may not be able to join because we've reached the capacity, but let's see if we can, just a few of you can still sneak in there. Let's see. But make sure you join because I'm going to post a few things there that are critical. So I send it to the link right now to everybody. Then I want to send this screenshot of this diagram so that you have it. It's a very good cheat sheet, so I think we should all have it for sure. Let me just take a screenshot and post it to the WhatsApp group. 1 second. Give me 1 second to do that. So if you're on the WhatsApp group, you see me send this diagram. And I'll probably quiz you on it. You know how we do our stuff, right? I know some of you are already tired that this guy is just this crazy dude, always sending stuff with his team. The key is retention, folks. We'll keep pushing our team so that you can retain some of those information and make the best for yourself, really, ultimately. All right. Okay. Another thing is, okay, let's quickly, yeah, I think that's it. I'm going to show us a video real quick, which is our video. This is our own video, so we can share it. And okay, let's see. This is our own video, so we should be good with this one. Let's see. Okay, so let's play this video. It's a short video. Okay.
Picture this.
All right, let me just share this video real quick and take some notes, then we'll get into our work after this. Let's go.
An advanced hospital equipped with the latest MRI, X-ray, and CT scan machines. Now imagine the chaos that would ensue if the cloud service provider handling the data from these machines fails. This is not a hypothetical scenario, but a real-life consequence of neglecting third-party risk process. Let's explore the unfortunate case of St. Jude's Hospital in the City of Hope. St. Jude's was a cutting-edge medical facility, boasting new MRI, X-ray, and CT scan machines. To handle the vast amount of data generated by these machines, they decided to partner with a cloud service provider. But they overlooked one crucial step: a comprehensive third-party risk process. Without performing due diligence or using third-party questionnaires, St. Jude's chose a provider based solely on cost-effectiveness. There was no third-party risk assessment, no review of the provider's security measures, no evaluation of their data handling capabilities. This oversight proved costly when the provider's servers were breached. Patient data was leaked, reputations were tarnished, and the hospital faced hefty fines for violating data protection regulations, all because of a lack of third-party risk process. The fallout was severe. St. Jude's was forced to switch providers, implement enhanced security measures, and invest heavily in damage control. The breach led to a loss of trust among patients and stakeholders, a setback that took years to recover from. This isn't an isolated incident. Across the globe, healthcare facilities are grappling with the consequences of inadequate third-party risk processes. The risks are real, and the stakes are high. So what can we learn from St. Jude's predicament? That a robust third-party risk process is not optional, it's a necessity. This process should include comprehensive due diligence, third-party questionnaires, and a thorough risk assessment. It should evaluate a provider's capabilities, their security measures, and their data handling procedures. Failure to implement a third-party risk process can lead to significant consequences. It can compromise patient data, tarnish reputations, and lead to financial losses. It can result in regulatory fines and a loss of trust among patients and stakeholders. The case of St. Jude serves as a stark reminder of the importance of a third-party risk process. It underscores the need for healthcare facilities to thoroughly vet their providers and implement robust security measures. Because when it comes to patient data, there's no room for error. Remember, the consequences of not implementing a good third-party risk process can be far-reaching and devastating. Be smart, be thorough, and prioritize patient data security. Because the cost of neglecting third-party risk process is simply too high to ignore.
All right, all right, cool, 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 cool. Hopefully that was you get the gist around that. That's a big one, just a good example on the need to make sure we do our due diligence as we do our risk, third party risk. It's a big concern for most organizations today, probably one of the biggest concerns. So I'm going to share with us real quick. And you guys, ladies, if, like I said, if you're on the WhatsApp group, you would see me send something to you right now in that group. And I would like you to just pick it up from there because you're going to use that real quick in your group, real quick. Then after that, we do one quiz and we would bounce. Now, for those of us that want to join we have a class after this, just 1 hour. Make sure you join. It's an AI amazing tool class to learn how to use efficiencies in terms of analyzing stuff with AI with GRC. Just amazing. Just join it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me share my screen. All right, let's quickly go. All right. Okay. Let me show you that this is a very good use case. Okay. Um, this is the summary. We all know the story already. It's a hospital system with MRI, CT scan, X-ray machine. This is the background. An assessment was done. They interviewed key stakeholders in the process. The findings they had issue with data security, compliance gap. So they had some issues identified. They came up with some short-term, medium-term remediation plan. Okay, fine. Now, also, they had vendor questionnaires. For every vendor you use, we need to have questionnaires for them, right? So in your case, you will see the questionnaires here. You can see the questionnaires and the response for each of the vendor A, vendor B, vendor C. The same thing here, A, B, C. You can see each one of those vendors, their responses. And we had some criteria for selection. Then let's see. Okay. So your assignment is this real quick. And I'm going to start with the first one. you know, um, Based on information above, right? This information here, they did a risk assessment for these vendors, right? Look at the information. I want us to work together for the first one, then you guys will do the last two. All right. So the first one they said for high priority on security and compliance, vendor C is recommended given their low risk in data security and compliance, crucial for handling sensitive health information. Their low integration risk also facilitates the adoption of new technology. Let me tell you what this is all about. We are looking at this table here. So if I look at this table, vendor A has, you know, its high with data security. Vendor B is medium. Vendor C is low, right? In terms of compliance, we have medium, high, medium. So if I look down here to make my decision, all right, if I want to consider security and compliance, vendor C was my selection because I look at security, the issue was, okay, low and compliance, low, yeah. So based on that, I can say vendor C makes the most sense. If I come here and I look for balance consideration with a lean towards reliability, all right. So I'll come back here and say, so I'm thinking in my head and saying, okay, which of these in terms of for balance consideration and reliability, which of these vendor will I select? So we have to think about it together and say, okay, which of them makes the most sense? For system needing immediate robust service availability, in terms of availability, which one will I think about? Okay, I'll come here and say, let's see availability. If the consideration is really availability, then let's see. Okay, is it going to be C? You have to make that decision, right? If my consideration is thinking of cost and leaning towards data security, I may come here and say, let's see cost and data security. Which one has high on security or low security issue, then cost? So you have to make your choice here and decide, okay, Based on this, which of these would I select? So I want you to make a decision. It's a decision point. All of the data is provided for you for three vendors. I want you to select which of, remember, every company is different. It's very judgmental. Some are obvious, some are not. So you would have to make a decision and say, looking at this, which one would make the most sense for me? I would say, so I just want you to let's do the first one together. Then you all can do the last two. If I'm thinking of balance consideration with a lean towards reliability, I want a system that is reliable. That's my focus. So let's look at this now. Security, service availability, scalability, integration, vendor reputation, and reliability. So this is reliability for me. So it has to be likely. Let me see what you guys think. Let me allow you to chat. What do you guys think? Which one should we? Did I send you a wrong document? Is it not the same document I sent? Okay, somebody said vendor B. Okay, reliability. So you think we should go with B? All right. Okay. Somebody says C. Okay. But you can tell that this is the way we have to think about it. So I would like you all to work and say, don't keep it, don't overthink it. All I need is tell me which one you select for each of these vendor. So the first one we can agree, okay, let's say we select vendor B here. So I want you to just work on this last two for in terms of availability, then in terms of data security. Just so first one we selected B. So let me just put B here. So for the first one we selected B, and don't worry, I'll reattach this document. Vendor B. So I'm going to make it in green. The last two is where I want you to select what vendor would you all choose for me. So I'm going to make you work as a group real quick. I'll send this document I just worked on right now to the WhatsApp community real quick. Then just give me your own answer. So I need you to just give me the answer for the last two in green. And we'll just wrap that up. Let's quickly do that we're going to do it for just 10 minutes. It shouldn't take you too long. If it takes you more than 10 minutes, I think you're overthinking it. So just remember, we're just looking at it. It's just a good example for us. So let's just quickly do that I'm sorry, I didn't send it. I'm going to send it right now. All right, so let's do the last two real quick. It's in the WhatsApp group now. So I'm going to put us in a group. One thing you notice once I put you in a group is you hear some silence. Don't freak out. It's not a big deal. It's just to, you know, we'll be in a group. So don't overthink it. You guys will be in a group and just have fun, discuss, and make sure you talk. Please, one thing I will challenge you is an opportunity for you to showcase your leadership. Don't pause. Don't hide. Just have fun. No big deal. We have nothing to lose. We don't know each other, most of us. So just have fun, build your leadership skill. So no big deal. All right, let's do that. Let's make it how many of us? Let's do, all right, let's do, yep. All right, see you guys in the next 10 minutes. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody. All right, I know it's never enough time. So, um, all right, I got it. So I'll give you some clarity. Somebody said give us some clarity on one of the comments. 1 second. All right, so 1 second, people. All right, so let me see the question on clarity real quick. All right, let's quickly take that question. Okay, got it. Let me just show you the table real quick. If you don't mind, let me just I'm going to ask you all. I'll show my screen, then you guys can decide. One thing I'll tell you is typically, don't worry, you're not crazy. It's always like that. So there'll be conflicting opinion, and that's okay. Now, for the table, yes, I know it could be confusing. I agree, but look at what the mindset is. If you tell me that data security risk is high here, it means this vendor is high risk in that area, right? Medium is medium risk in that area. So naturally, if I'm looking at data security, whoever has low is going to be my preference naturally, right? Because their risk is low as it regards to data security. Now, if you read it up, if you go up and read it more, you will see each of them. You can see here although vendor A offers slightly better encryption, the difference is marginal, and vendor B's overall security measures are robust. So you can see here, it gives us more explanation to each of those vendors, right? You can go up and read more on each area. I know you don't have enough time to read each everybody's response, but in ideal situation, this is really what you need to read ahead of uh, the final part of it. So I just summarized, but if you look up here, this is really, you would have read all this, and this will have given you more context into, okay, the response of each of the vendors. Okay, let me ask you, let's wrap this up real quick. Um, in terms of system, in terms of robust availability, what's the most prevalent? What did you guys choose the most? Let me just see real quick. Let's see what you chose the most. All right. And don't worry, it's okay if you don't choose. Everybody's is subjective, right? You look at your organization, the use cases will determine what. So I'm not going to say you are right or wrong. No, that's not the issue. It's not designed that way. It's designed to be subjective for you to think through it from your own business case perspective, the rationale behind it. Just one thing, be ready to justify it. That's the key. As long as it's reasonable, you can justify it in front of your board and leadership. That's it. That's all that matters, really. Let's take the second one. In terms of cost and leaning towards data security, what would you select? Let's see what you guys think. All right. I think most of us are on B on that one, right? Okay, let's see. I've seen C and A. The key is reasonableness. If you can justify it, tell me the use cases, then that's fine. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. I love it. Okay. I'll leave you get the gist. That's the gist about it. All right. The final thing we just do before we bounce real quick, I know you think I've forgotten. We're going to do our Kahoot, the final one before we bounce. Make sure you stay for the other class. It's a very, very useful program. I'll recommend you stay for sure. All right. Let me quickly share this one. All right. Let's see. All right. The pin for us is 1530288. Let's go. We're on vacation, Hawaii, Paris, Bali. Let's see your choice. Let's go. Choose one of the vacation spots. Let's see what you got. Let me copy and paste this to the group. All right, just go ahead and let's see. Let me paste it to. Then for all of us again, a lot of you have asked me about the upcoming class for the GRC. Just go ahead and still register. I think mostly before Friday, before the day, we can still take registration, but it's really filling up so crazy. So make sure you jump on board immediately. Don't waste your time. All right, let's see. So I just sent the link for the Kahoots. Everybody, let's go. We'll quick on the Kahoots, just a few questions, and we'll just get started with the other program real quick. All right, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's get to 40 and we get started real quick. Then the other thing I would say is that we have some videos coming up on our Instagram pages. Just follow us on Instagram. Also, I'll post the link to our group right now so that we can also follow what's going on there. And we have some free resources we always offer within our community. Take advantage of it. Don't just take, that's why we do this really for you. So take advantage of it. Some of these things, you'll be surprised. Every help you need is already there. So take advantage of it. Okay, let me put the Kahoot in WhatsApp. Is that what you're asking? No, just the number is 1530288. Just go to kahoot.it. All right, let's get started real quick. Sorry, guys, we have just 2 minutes or so. All right, let's quickly go. Go, 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 go. Let's go. Just test your knowledge real quick. Let's go. Let's go. Let's see the vacation spot that we all want to go to. Hawaii. Let's so. Is it important to assess vendor risk? What do you think? All right, let's see what your thoughts are. Is it important to assess vendor risk? All right. I think we can all agree it's always important to always assess vendor risk. Let's go to the next one. Let's see who's winning. What is the purpose of thorough vetting of our vendors? Why do we think it's important to vet our vendors? All right. Next one. For those of us joining for the other class, thank you for joining. We'll be out of here in a bit. What should be included in contract security measures? What should we include in contract as additional security measures? All right, contract safeguard. We can agree on that too. Okay, Paris has taken over. All right, let's go. Any of those spots I would love to go. Well, I've been to two. I need to hit the third one. Let's see if Bali can catch up. What is important of keeping an eye on vendors? Why do we think it's important to keep an eye on vendors? Thank you all for joining. For my new folks joining, we're out of it in a few minutes and we'll get into AI prompting. Good job. Monitoring of calls. All right. All right. We're almost done for folks. All right. Let's see. What is the role of ensuring vendor compliance in third-party risk management? Why do we think it's important? Why do you think it's important? Excellent. 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 Okay, let's go. Bali is winning. Woohoo! What should be known in crisis situation in third-party risk management? What should be known in crisis situation? Escalation path, due diligence, risk assessment, audit monitoring. What should we know? Excellent, excellent. All right, we're almost done here. Let's see what we got. Okay. True or false? Is it necessary to assess vendor risk in third-party management? Is it necessary? Do we really need it? What do you think? Excellent. All right, Bali is really leading. Let's see the final one. All right, let's see. Let's see. What should be included in contract security measure? I think we had this before, but to repetition. Excellent. All right, winner Paris is third place. All right, Hawaii second place. Team love to you all. Awesome job, Bali. Awesome job, Team Bali. Excellent job. Let's give them some love. No player hating, folks. Let's give our Bali team some love. All right, thank you, everybody. We're gonna jump to the next class. We're gonna kick that off in 1:35. Let's take a break and make sure you stay for it. You will love it. It's gonna be a game changer. It will enhance your knowledge base for sure. I guarantee it will worth your time. So we'll get into that in the next 3 minutes. So let's just transition. Take a quick break for those of us just um, already here. So let's take a break. We'll be back in 3 minutes. See you on bit.